Today I wanted to share with you some tips on drawing in the Danny Phantom style, where we're just going to be working on the faces and some do's and don'ts for you to think about. So when drawing in the Danny Phantom style, if we're working on any sort of face, one of the most important things to do is use straight against curves wherever you can. We want to try to avoid just making things too even and straight, just lining up with each other, because that can almost just make a design just a little bit boring. So when drawing a character's head, I might start with a nice sort of straight line that goes through here. Again, there's a little bit of a curve. When I talk about straight and curve, doesn't mean that it has to be perfectly straight. I just know that I'm starting just to incorporate just a slight little curve within that straight shape. The next thing that we want to do, we can establish different ways of drawing the faces, but we got to just start to build up that face. I could draw the face where now it just has that contrasting line to it, so I got a nice curve like that. I can have the face where it sort of like does something like this, where now I just sort of like take that to where the cheek is and break up that shape. I can create a shape that goes into that place too. I can take my shape where it just becomes straight through there, and I'm just simply just making it round through here, okay? And then if I want to, the best thing to do, depending on the face shape, we can determine, does the person have a chin or not? So if I don't want the chin, I'm just going to end it right there. I'm almost making a P shape. You can see with these, if I wanted to give the character just more of a chin, I'm going to draw in my line. The thing that we don't do in the Danny Phantom style is draw a line beyond this. The line has to end right where the neck is. So I'm going to erase those through here. Okay, the next thing from there, once we've established those shapes, is I think it's important to just try to establish where you want your eye line on your character. So let's just move that through in these different areas. Typically, we don't want to go high and we don't want to go too low within a face, because that can just start to make the face not look as realistic that we want. So imagine if I just take my shape like this from my Danny Phantom style, but I don't want to put the eyes all the way down here on a character and try to cram everything in. That's going to just really make the design suffer quite a bit, all right? And once I've established my eye line, I'm going to just establish my center line of where I'm going to be placing the nose shape through there. And when drawing eyes on the character, the thing that we want to do is just, we can either focus on a couple different shapes. The Danny Phantom style, the eyes are either going to be oval, so we can get more of those oval shapes. Otherwise, we can just make the eyes perfectly round through there. What we want to avoid is making the eyes go in this direction. That's more of like a Looney Tunes sort of cartoon character. And also, we don't necessarily just create just different shapes that look like this and play around too extreme with the shapes. That's starting just to get away from that Danny Phantom style, where really we want to try to use that variation within the eyes. We can always add upper lids just in order to bring just a little bit more of that feeling and emotion into the character if we want. Otherwise, we can just have those nice big circles that are going to be within the inside. So the nose shapes are going to vary too. So let's just plant the eyes here. So if I just plant the eyes, also the thing that you want to think about when you're working in the Danny Phantom style is that the eyes do not overlap over the line. You don't want to do that. We're going to be keeping the eyeballs inside that shape. That's extremely important when working on the show style. So here, even if I want to just make these just a little bit more oval through there, I'm going to make that shape oval through there. I can make my eyes bigger or small if you want. There's no real sense of how big or how small. We just know we don't want to make the eyes super big, and we don't want to ever overlap them like that either. So I'm going to just keep the eyes with just a little bit of a dash in between. If I have my eyes, I just want to separate them. Again, not too far. I'm not going to take my eyes and pull them all the way across like that. We got to be careful on the distance that's working there. So here, I'm just going to get these eyes, make them just a little bit bigger through here. The next thing that we want to do is get a nose shape. So the nose shape is just about keeping it simple. There's a lot of different noses we can take, but a nose shape that I can take is just getting just a little bit more of a curve if I want through there, and then I can get a nice straight and almost make like a nice little V. I can create a nose shape like that. One of the most common ones used in the show was just bringing a straight line down and then just doing that little V shape and just flipping it up nice and simple like that. We can also, if we want to, just get a nice little swooping shape through here. So there's one little swoop. We're not going to see nostrils. So when you're drawing the Danny Phantom style, you're not going to be drawing nostrils and doing something like this or doing something like this. You know, that's all of a sudden just really breaking away from the idea of the style, especially on the incidental characters when you're drawing them. So with these characters now, what I can do is, if I want to, I can just add just a little bit of that expression with that top eye line and just getting a nice little circle in there. I can just make my shapes just nice and round and just sort of like stick them in the middle there. I could even, if I want, just to add a little bit more personality to the character, just move those eyeballs off to the side. All right. The next big thing that we just want to focus on when you're drawing the character, on this one I made this shape because I just want to play with just maybe a little bit of a nice little hat or something there. We can get little floating shapes and lines that come above the design if you want. Here I'm going to give this guy just a baseball cap through here. Just here, once again, I'm going to play with a straight and I'm going to get a nice curve shape, and all of a sudden I'm just going to pull that all the way across and just add a hat again, a nice little straight against curve. So what we're trying to avoid is any just sort of real big overlapping lines or just wiggly shapes. And then one of the most important things is when you're drawing the eyebrows, we just want to keep those just, they're going to be more rectangle shapes. So keep those rectangle. So through here, so I can take that nice shape through here, a nice little rectangle shape. Just flush that out. I want to make sure that it feels like it's the same volume, the same thickness. That's going to be important when you're working on the character. I can even, if I want to, just hint and just draw just a little line like that. You can get away with that in the Danny Phantom style. All right. This one with this girl, let's go ahead. I'm going to make this a girl and just add some hair to her. So here what I'm going to do is just add just a nice little shape. Again, I'm playing around with a nice curve shape against a straight shape, and notice that I'm avoiding just making everything just feel so straight there, because that can just start to kill the design just a little bit. And then let's just maybe bring that hair shape up through here, and I'll just wrap this to the side so there's a nice little curve through there. All right, and then what I'm going to do is maybe just pull this hair out again, get a nice little straight and get an angle. And also what I'm doing is breaking up my spacing. So you'll notice in a lot of my online videos, I talk about the golden section in design and how to use that. So that's what I was doing there, just wanting to break that up a bit. We can always come back afterwards and start to just erase any lines that we don't want within the style. Okay, so we come back afterwards. Let me just go ahead and add this girl's eyebrows through here, just some nice little rectangle shapes. And those typically what we just want to do with those, there's times where we actually want to just, we can have them, I pulled it beyond that. We want to just try to keep it within the face. We don't want to pull it beyond the face. However, you can, if you want to, raise those eyebrows and bring them over into the hair design if you want to do that, and we can maximize expression if we do something like that. But be sure to watch out for any sort of tangents that you might get through there, so be careful with that. The next thing that we're going to do is the ears. So when drawing the Danny Phantom style ears, they're always round, so keep them nice and round. There's no real size. We can get them big, we can get them small, but it's almost just a really nice C shape that's happening with that design. And then from here, what we're going to do is just put a little sort of squiggly number 6 into that shape, and we can just do something like that. And that's how we can just get that little style of that ear shape there. Here on the hair, I'm just going to come back and maybe add some lines. Separate those lines. You don't want to clutter them too close together. Just give them a little bit more of a sense of design and spacing through there. And when you were drawing the mouths, there's a lot of different ways to draw the mouths, but something that we want to do, I'm just going to give this person some hair through there. And let me actually, what I'm going to do with this is maybe just on the hair here, I'm just going to maybe just add just maybe a little ponytail or something just coming coming from the top there. Could be floating, so we get some nice little shapes. Actually, that might be a little bit too extreme for me. I just want to try to simplify that a bit. So what I'm going to do is just bring that just above the head here. Just lay it over there and maybe just try simplifying this a bit more. Give it a little bit of shape, a little angle. Really what it's doing, it's all connected, and that's what you got to think about when you're designing in this style. How do things maybe connect? We can erase anything afterwards that we don't want. You know, as I'm going over this and drawing that, I'm still not super happy with the way that looks. Maybe I'm going to just do something here where I'm going to just put a little shape here and maybe just make a little ponytail shape that might hang down from there. I could do something like that, you know, if I like within the show. All right, he said there's a lot of different variations. You've seen me sort of like mess around with a lot of different shapes through there just to see what I could possibly get. We could even just get almost like what Sam had, where there was the hair up top. Through here, I could get that hair, just make it just feel just a little bit bigger. I can even just make a shape, do something like that if I want. And so there's a lot of experimentation that goes on, and that's what I want you to think about whenever you're drawing. What are just different ways you can sort of just experiment with that shape? I might even make that just, if I want to, just a little bit smaller there and just moving that around, okay? The next thing is the mouth. So the mouth, typically, you never want to just stick the mouth directly in the middle and do something like that. That's not really reminiscent of the Danny Phantom style. What we want to do is just move that mouth off to the side. So just pushing it off to the side and making just a nice, simple, little clean shape is a good way to go about it. And then if I'm drawing a mouth, I could just have a straight mouth through here. And if I want to just add some lips, again, I'm doing just a nice curve on top of here, and then underneath I might just even just make that just a little bit smaller, but again dealing with nice straight against curve. And if I want to, again, just do the same thing here. Let's just open this mouth here. So I'm just gonna get that little shape through here, and then let's just pull so we have a nice really nice defining those lines. And maybe I might even just get some teeth in here. So what I'm going to do is just get a nice little rectangle shape, and then make sure that there's spacing between this. If I want to add a little bit of a tongue, I can add the tongue, but actually I'm running out of room. It's maybe too tight, so I make that decision not to add that tongue. Of course, we can come back afterwards and we can just erase any of the lines that we don't want in there. And that's one of the ways, the most effective ways, just to really work when you're drawing in the Danny Phantom style and working on the faces. Just really choose your shapes, determine what you're going to do. Maybe even with this one, I can choose just to make this more of a straight, add a little bit of round and do a shape like that. I can make it a circle shape through there. I could add, just even if I want to just add this, if this is like a little snow hat or something like that, I could add little shapes like that on top of the character. All right, as the character gets older, if you wanted to and add any other features, we can even just add just a little goatee. You can see that I'm just adding a little nice clean shape. So it's all about the sharp lines that are going to define this style as you're working on it. And if you wanted to add some more age, I can even just add a little bit of a line underneath there just to age up the character just a little bit more. All right, so that's the drawing tip for just drawing some faces in the Danny Phantom style. I hope you enjoyed it. You can watch this as well as many more lessons at the silverdrawingacademy.com, and thanks for watching.